वीरेंद्र कुमार भट्टाचार्य के जन्मशती के अवसर पर आयोजित संगोष्ठी के द्वितीय सत्र में आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। मित्रों, इस सत्र की अध्यक्षता कर रही हैं प्रोफेसर करवी डेका हाजरिका जी और इस सत्र का विषय है वीरेंद्र भट्टाचार्य का सांस्कृतिक और सामाजिक प्रभाव। इसमें 3 आलेख पढ़े जाएंगे। हमारे बीच है प्रोफेसर विनीता बोरादेव चौधरी जी, प्रोफेसर मलया औंद जी और श्री मयूर बोरा जी। मयूर बोरा। मैं आप लोगों को हमारे अध्यक्ष का एक छोटा सा परिचय देता हूं और उसके बाद हम इस सत्र की शुरुआत करेंगे। Professor Karvi Deka Hajrika is an eminent Assamese poet, scholar and the former Sahitya Rathi Lakshminath Bejbarua Chair Professor and Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences in Dibrugarh University. She has so far contributed 68 numbers of books including 5 collections of poems, 6 travelogues, 8 children books, books on literary criticism, novels, translations, etc., both original and edited. She is the recipient of many prestigious Assam Sahitya Akademi Award, Kavya Hriday Samman, Naveen Saikiya Award, etc. प्रोफेसर करवी डेका हाजरिका को आमंत्रित कर रहा हूँ कि वो सत्र की शुरुआत करें।
ठीक है ना? Namaskar and very good afternoon to all. We are going to start the 3rd session of the Centenary seminar, and the theme of the seminar is Bhattacharya's cultural and social impact. Let us discuss few words. প্ৰথমতে মই বীৰেন্দ্ৰ ভট্টাচাৰ্যৰ পবিত্ৰ স্মৃতিত মোৰ শ্ৰদ্ধা নিবেদন কৰিছোঁ আৰু আমি গৌৰৱ কৰিব পৰা এই বিশিষ্ট সাহিত্যিকজনৰ স্মৃতিত কিছু কথা ক'বলৈ বিচাৰিছোঁ। I pay my homage to the great soul in his birth centenary. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya is mainly known for his powerful novels. He is a very good storyteller. The main attraction of his writings is his sensitive nature and love for common people. He had socialistic thoughts and humanistic outlook. With the blending of these two, his narration became like the utterance of the middle class people and sometimes very bold expression of protest and anger also. আমি বীৰেন্দ্ৰ কুমাৰ ভট্টাচাৰ্যৰ লিখনিৰ মাজত মানুহৰ প্ৰতি যিটো সহমৰ্মিতা পাওঁ তাৰ লগতে এটা প্ৰতিবাদী কণ্ঠ এটা পাওঁ আৰু মানুহৰ মাজত যিটো ক্ষোভ আৰু অসন্তুষ্টি আছে সেইটো লেখাৰ মাজেৰে আমি ফুটি উঠা দেখা পাওঁ। When we enter the depth of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya's novel and stories, a peculiar sensation vibrates in our thoughts and feelings. We feel that he is our own, a person like the next door neighbor. He speaks our problems, our aspirations, our needs, but to me, he is a very different form of writer who deals mainly in prose but always carry in his heart a bunch of good poetry. আব্দুল মালিকৰ নিচিনাকৈ মোৰ এটা ধাৰণা হয় যে এই মানুহজন ভিতৰি এজন কবি আছিল। হি ইজ এ পয়েট ইনচাইড, বাট হি ডিলছ ইন প্ৰজ উইথ এ poetic heart, a poet's heart. So the feelings of a poet, the love for nature, the love for people, the love for the deprived of the society, we found both in his poetry and his prose writings. I believe Bhattacharya's talent reflects in 2 of his valuable works, the Yarengam and the Government of the People, and one main beautiful poem, Vishnurabha Etya Kimanarati. That means Vishnurabha, how deep into the night it is now. Thousands of people who spend sleepless nights are waiting for a leader to lead them to the path of light. This is the main theme of the Vishnurabha Etya Kiman Rati, which is a beautiful poem with a sense of protest, with a sense of sorrow, and with a sense of hopefulness. The mention of night is symbolic. The poet wants to overcome the darkness of the society, which is compared with the dark night of the society. In both in all the genres of the poetry and fiction, he can be identified as a person soft-hearted but alert in every moment to protect the right of the common people. He is sensitive for the poor and the sufferings of the poor and the deprived, respectful for personal love, worshipper of honesty and courage. The main aspects of his poetry and fiction are, I believe, these are the main feature of his writings: a political thought in simple expression, a wish for peace and prosperity of his countrymen and upliftment of the society, a poetic sense in many of his writings are found also, a depiction of the situation of conflict between the workers and the owners and the consequent social unrest, and this content is a significant aspect to his novels. Then, about human character, love of mother, her affection and sentiments, universal motherhood, and the mother beyond all caste and religion. It is a good theme of some of his novels. Love in midst of life and death, life in the days of warfare, love of the deprived, love of the social figures who had offered themselves to the need of the society and have very little time for their personal life. That is also a line of his writings. Then there are another some feature we find in Birendra Kumar's novels. These outlooks of poetry, there are some fine nature of poetry, as I have already told, is found some of his writings. This outlook of poetry has been vividly expressed through the novels I, Yaringam, Protipad, Mrityunjay, Raspathiringe, etc. Therefore, to know and understand the main theme of his writings, one must take help of his, not only of his prose writing, but also his poems too, his poetry too. Then this theme of this session is culture, Bhattacharya's cultural and social impact. Literature and culture are closely related. Every piece of literature, directly or indirectly, have a reflection of society in it. Society is a common playhouse for culture, and culture is a combination of lifestyle, religious thoughts, beliefs, arts and crafts, different forms of values and behaviors, etc., etc. In a good piece of literature, one can find a cultural touch which makes the narration most delicious and lovely. Such the writings of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, in which a society, generally the Assamese society, sometimes the Naga society, society of the poor people, society of the allied people, have their good reflection in his writing. Most of the novels and short stories of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya have a reflection of cultural values, ideas, attitude of Assamese society. Sometimes his novels bear a sense of protest and agony as the common voice of people, not only of the Assamese people, but the people as a whole, we can say the world mankind. There are the challenges of confessional wisdom, focuses on the good ideas of community, drawing attention to social injustice and a sense of unnoticed propaganda for universal brotherhood. So, there are touches over war-affected society and freedom fight movement, but he speaks his problematic theme in a very delicious and smooth manner. So, it is interesting to find how a writer can be at the same time a patient outlooker. He sees, he feels, and he expresses in an artistic way. Therefore, it is crucial to discuss his cultural and social impact in his novel or his writings, because it is very vast. Not only in few novels, only few short stories or few poems we found this outlook. But there are other translated works, his other writings, and I think my co-friends will discuss them in their good capacity. And so I conclude my introductory speech here and offers my microphone to the first person, Vinita.
Thank you very much, Akademi madam. Now may I introduce Dr. Vinita Chaudhary before inviting her on her paper. She is a well-known Assamese writer and a scholar and working as an associate professor, Department of Assamese at Akademi University. She has around 24 published books to her credit, including poetry collections, translated and edited books. She has several published articles in reputed Assamese magazines and journals, besides various published chapters in Assamese course books in different universities and colleges. Dr. Rabindra Kumar Bhattacharyya.
Thank you, thank you, Teresa. Respected chairperson and distinguished guests. At the very beginning, I would like to thank Sahitya Akademi to give me the opportunity to speak few words in this August hour. Today, I want to read my paper with the due permission of the chairperson. Exploring motherhood and other cultural narratives in Bhattacharya's works, especially in novels. For the end of her expression, novelist Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya keeps a prominent role in the literature of Assamese novels. The novelist's philosophies and ideas, as well as contemporary social problems and prospects, are reflected in the novels. But sometimes it is difficult to find out those philosophies and ideas in a clear form. A pictorial art of social consciousness, political and psychological consciousness are presented in his novels. His political novels also reflects human relationships, love, compassion, pity and fear of his contemporary society. The entire themes of his novels help the readers to understand the human existence in the world. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya has written 19 novels covering the themes of socialism, Marxism, Naxalism, peasant uprising, freedom struggle, labor movement, liberation, and war and Naga uprising. However, love and humanity are seen as a landmark of his novels. The novels of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya are Rajkothi Ringiyai, I, Shatagni, Pratipad, Yarvingam, Mrityunjay, Ballari, Kalor Humunia, Nasta Chandra, Senaki Kuti, Goboraru Ful, Ranga Meg, Tiny, Munisuni Puhar, Chaturang, Fulkwarar Pokhibra, Premaru Brittu. All the literary critics discussed the maximum novels of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya as political arena, but in the complexity of plot, it arises the need to study from psychological point of view. Mainly, depiction of true love is common almost all his novels. If one of the elements of the novel is the novelist's philosophy of life, then it is also a matter of concern how the person with a pure heart, the epitome of gentleness, brought a complexity in love. However, it is true that the story of deconstructed with the help of the complex form, but at the end of the story, it brings out the simple, straightforward plot which delighted the readers. In addition to it creating variety of subject matter, the novelist has been able to keep the characters alive forever in his novels. The first published novel of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya is Rabindra, although it was the first published work of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya. An earlier unpublished novel, Mahaprasthana Pratik, was lost in manuscript during the communal classes in Calcutta. Critics have called Rabindra as a political novel. The novel, published in 1955, described some of the events that took place in August 15, 1947, the day India gained independence. The truth revealed in the events described the echo of the Revolutionary Communist Party, Ye Azadi Jhutha Hai. By some small events, the novelist shows that the independence gained by India cannot be called true independence. He felt that the lower classes gained nothing from this freedom. The statement he makes through the stories suggests that his thought and ideas are always with the general people of the society. In 1960, Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya published another widely read and popular novel, I. This is not a political novel but brings up the class struggle from the perspective of scientific sociology. The novel is a description of ordinary rural life through the socio-economic environment of contemporary rural areas of Assam. I and Basa are the two main characters of the novel. At the beginning of the story, a monk enters who keeps also a major role in this novel. The monk establishes the meaning of Ma and I in our personal and social life. The novelist establishes that a woman who is a Ma, a mother of someone, can be a I, a force for an entire society by her kindness, love and wisdom. Ma is existed with the feelings of love and compassion. Basa asks what the meaning of I is. The monk knows and admits that there is no clear difference between Ma and I. Only two forms of same feeling. But to evoke a broad imagination in the mind of Basa, the monk added the I means the mother of all. Basa asked surprisingly that where is his string? Here it is, answered by the monk, pointing to his body. Basa immediately wished to meet I. The monk was puzzled and said, your mother is also my mother. The hearts of mothers are same to all. The monk analyzed the word mother and tried to establish the pure selfless love, compassion of a mother. The novelist also gave a pen picture of the social, political and economic condition of the country in rural setting. The love story of Rajat and Numali is based on the caste discrimination of the village, which focused on pure love relationship. Bapukot is rebellious in his nature. Rajat became a murderer for the sake of land and had to be hanged on trial. Choked with the feeling of motherhood, Basa's mother seems to have become the mother of everyone. The novel Centenary was published in 1965. This novel is not much highlighted, but the political and psychological interests are remarkable. A specific personal love is depicted here: patriotism, Sino-Indian relations, China's invasion in Assam. The complexity of love is depicted by Pamela, Vimola, Prashanta, Rajat, Beli, and the sense of patriotism is depicted by Athai and Vimola. Both the two siblings, Rajat and Prashanta, devoted their lives for the nation. Amala was crazy for both brothers. The mother of Amala had also an illegal relationship with the father of Rajat and Prashanta. Pramila, the mother of Rajat and Prashanta, knew that and did not accept Amala as a daughter-in-law. Amala herself was not sure whom she liked more, Rajat or Prashanta. The novelist did not clear the state of mind of Amala up to the last climax of the novel. The patriotic feelings of Vimola and Athai was portrayed very well. Athai loves his own country, China, so as Vimola loves her motherland, Assam. The China-India political relationship also becomes a sub-theme of the novel, but the novelist concentrates more on the complicated relationship among Rajat, Amala and Prashant. In 1968, Nasta Sandra was published. It has also a political atmosphere, but in the meantime, people, Sonikon and Drulov, are maintaining a complicated relationship due to love climax. He left the Congress and embraced leftists through the sword to establish socialism, drawing a political context which very familiar to the people of Assam at that time. By the relationship of people Suwanikon and Durlov, the novelist tries to depict the consequence of extra-social or extra-marital relationship, the problems of age gap between husband and wife, and the influence on it in the whole family and ultimately to the society. Nastosundar implies that people take the wrong path as a result of some of the evil practices of society, and the reasons are never good. There is also a complex love plot in the novel Sinati Kuti by Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya among the three characters Anand, Arpan and Pamela. The relationship between Aparna and Jivan Babu was beyond physical attraction. By introducing a dozen of characters, the novelist creates a complex plot, and at the end of the novel, there establishes a healthy and peaceful environment. By the words of Pamela, the novelist portrays the deception of male counterparts who wishes to continue a physical relationship only with the beautiful girls. But Jivan Babu is unique in his thought and ideas, who continues a spiritual relationship with Aparna. As a whole, Sinati Kuti is a novel about the psychological aspects of human beings, in which the perception of different characters of love plays a major role in the entire novel. In 1972, another novel named Covered and Full by Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya was published. The background story of this novel is somewhat different. The novel is about the problems of Bangladeshis and refugees. The story is set in Assam, which is the center of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. The novelist expresses the eternal love relationship of Meher and Habib. At the end of the novel, the universal form of patriotism and individual love are depicted parallelly. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya wrote Pallavi in 1970. The story of Pallavi is about trade unions and humanity, which explores many reasons about the country's economic condition. Extramarital affair becomes the major plot to continue the story. Perhaps the Western concepts of free society and luxurious life created such unusual plot. Ali, Nalin, Sengupta, Polas, Sadhani, Nirmali are the major characters of this novel. The novelist unknowingly harbored a hatred towards Anglo-Indian society and therefore portrayed the adultery and physical desires in the name of love in such a newly formed society, so that the reader could feel how the fleeting relationship can destroy a life, a family. Ranga Meg, published in 1976, in another novel about the conflict about the Mahajan and the exploiting classes, the simple love affair story of Rajan Rumi, Anand Kanchan, and depicted here, Ranga Meg is about exploitation, politics, diplomacy and love of marginalized society. The widely accepted novels of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya are Pratipat, Yaruingam and Mrityunjay. The love conflicts of Risham, Kutila, Charengla in Yaruingam, Dimi, Dhanpur, Subhadra in Mrityunjay create an aesthetic feeling in the mind of the readers. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya self-expressed that he got a mental satisfaction by completing his novel, mainly by presenting a picture of heart, mind and soul in a lover in different forms. How a person is socially responsible can be felt in his novels. Along with this, the psychological aspects of human beings are also analyzed. In every novel, they present a number of characters, but a few are keeping major roles in every plot. Women are keeping a prevalent role in some of his novels: I, Daini, Sinati Kuti, Nastochandra, Mrityunjay and Yaruingam. The women are not only bound here only by their marriage and family burdens. An ideal woman is always keeping a major role for the swift functioning of a family, which is presented in his novels. But he also expressed a view about the women and open-minded, ambitious, peculiar, exceptional in their thought and action, sometimes are not able to maintain a family and household burdens. The productive attitude of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya is seen in his novels, presenting the political and social conditions of the society, but sometimes he also accepted the rigid patriarchal attitude of the society, especially the women in Indian settings. As a whole, the novels of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya deal with different themes: socialism, Marxism, Naxalism, peasant movement, etc., and attracts the readers by the tone of love and humanity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vinita Boradev Chaudhary ji. Now may I request Dr. Malaya Khand for her paper.
Vinita,
writer,
Vinita, microphone to take coordination by
lecturer, Department of Indian Languages and Literary
Studies, by
She has 20 published books to her credit, including the translated books. She is the founder secretary of Assam Sahitya Sabha and all Assam Lekika Samaroh Samiti, Delhi chapter, and served as the vice president of Delhi Assam Association. She is the recipient of Sahitya Akademi's Translation Prize, Assam Government Literary Pension Award, Hem Chandra Sharma Award, etc. Dr. Malaya Khan.
Namaskar friends. Today I am very happy to be here at Sahitya Akademi's conference hall, where we were so accustomed to meeting before the pandemic. We used to come here before with my husband, and now everything seems. I would like to offer my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to the organizer of the committee, especially Dr. Rao, Secretary Sahitya Akademi, along with Sri Diganta Vishwasama and the distinguished members of the Assam chapter of Sahitya Akademi, for giving me this opportunity. মই প্ৰথমতে এতিয়া শ্ৰদ্ধাৰ্ঘ্য জনাব খুজিছোঁ আমাৰ অতি শ্ৰদ্ধাৰ বীৰেন্দ্ৰ কুমাৰ ভট্টাচাৰ্যক জ্ঞানপীঠ একাডেমী আৰু I have done my PhD on him, the Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya and his novel. My book is here. Please. Kitabkhon, my data is here. And hekarne moi aji we used to talk usually with Dr. Rao Bhattacharya, editor of journal. He may be here. আমি কেতিয়াবা পাতিব লাগে বীৰেন্দ্ৰ ভট্টাচাৰ্যই, but this time I am so happy.
PhD কিতাপ নেকি? PhD. This is her PhD thesis on Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya and his novel.
88 published by Assam Tribune. Abhi 4-5 editions has been published, and all are very happy to read in Chandra Sadakya, Lakshminandan Bra. They are very grateful to me. Always says, Malaya, you have done a great work. But today only this is materialized. So I thank all. Korobi, my friends, and Diganta Vishwa and everyone. So thank you so much. I have great homage to Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. And I think his daughter also is here, Julie. And Vinita Baidu also. She hails from my hometown, Jorhat. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. First Assamese Gyanpith Award, pioneer of Ramdhenu era. You know, very popular Ramdhenu in Assam. All Assamese scholars know it. He edited Ramdhenu, a literary journal, for nearly a decade. His role as the editor of this journal was so prominent that the period of the publication in the mid-20th century is Assamese refers to the Ramdhenu era of Assamese literature and considered as a golden era in the history of Assamese literature. His major discoveries of Ramdhenu era are deemed to be the top of Assamese and Indian writers of the second half of the 20th century. He was responsible for the emergence of a new distinct group of writers that give new vigor and color to the rainbow of Assamese language and literature. His most prominent literary discoveries are Chandra Prasad Sahitya, Bhavan Sahitya, Lakshminandan Bora, Navkanta Burua, Homen Borgohai, Nirupama Borgohai, Indira Raisam Goswami, Hiran Bhattacharyya, Nilamani Phukon, Utulananda Goswami, and Hare Krishna Deka, and so on. They himself told in a magazine that we are grateful to the Bhattacharya. Without him, it is not possible for us to appear in the dimension. It was a regular.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No.
And I was a regular reader of Rabindra from my high school up to the post-graduation. During the mid-60s, while we were growing up, we had very little knowledge about the pan-Indian literature and organization. It was thanks to Sri Bhattacharya's editorial column that we came to know about the Sahitya Akademi and its various literary activities and pan-Indian everything, organization, newspaper, etc. Now I come to my topic. Literature and social sense, the role of Bhattacharya in shaping Assamese conscience. Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya started his literary career as a short story writer when he was a high school student. From his very childhood, he was a deeply observant of human nature, social activities of native village, as well as political activities of the time. He was a child of pre-independent India. Everywhere there were slogans of the independent movement, along with Gandhiji's call for non-violent struggle. Gandhiji had himself commented that writing is also an indirect weapon of bringing freedom by changing the mindset of vast readers. I have mentioned in my move that he replied Vallabhbhai Patel, the iron person. The writing also is an instrument of non-violent movement. Gradually, Bhattacharya also got influenced by the socialist leader Ram Manohar Lohiya, Netaji Subhash Bose, Vaishito Pattabardhan, etc. The influence found expression in his literary works, although he was never directly involved with political activities of the time. The contemporary events which created waves in Assam, as well as the country's political life, were taken by him as themes for the most of his novel. Whatever he has written has come out mostly from his personal experience. Like Bankim Chandra's Ananda Math, set in the background of Sannyasi rebellion in late 18th century, and Dinabandhu Mitra's Nil Larpan, in the backdrop of Indigo revolt of 1859 in Bengal, Birendra Kumar's writing had freedom struggle and love for the motherland as themes most often. He commented, I usually start with contemporary events, experiences. So his Rajpathaniyai, his first novel, describes his event taking place on India's first independence day, 15 August 1947, as seen by his revolutionary young protagonist, Mohan. Pratibad deals with the 1939 labor movement in Digboi refinery. Kabor Aru Phul is based on the Bangladesh Liberation War. Satavni has its backdrops in the Chinese aggression of 1962. His Sahitya Akademi award-winning Irarangam, considered a masterpiece of Indian literature, speaks about the genuine feelings of the Nagas shattered by World War II. His Gyanpith-winning Mrityunjaya is based on the Indian freedom movement in Assam. Rejecting the assumption that foreigners and the well-to-do were devoid of human sympathies, he had presented appealing characters such as Fleming Kapoor and Higgins Sahab in Pratipad, Dr. Bruce in Yarangam, Chaudhuri, the politician in Rangamang. All his characters are lively and artfully, men and women of flesh and blood, born as they were of real experience. Birendra Kumar held women in high esteem. His female characters have their own distinct identity. According to him, a capable woman does the work of 100 men. Mrityunjay, main woman character, Jimmy, and the efficient weaver Koli Bairu, who is a real Gandhian, Lakshmi and Nayanmani of Pratibadha, Sarengla Yangum, and other such characters have achieved greatness through their individual thinking and ideals. Basa's mother, through the central character of I, is the picture of accomplished and affectionate universal mother. The picturization of tortured women has concrete shape in the literary style. The descriptions of suicide of Mrityunjay Subhadra, the unfortunate life of Yarangam Sarengla, a victim of inhuman torture by Japanese army, the distress of Pratibadha Jebunisa, a victim of the white child lust, the tragic consequence of women love in society, the authentic picture of the life of women doomed by the evils of child marriage in the pre-independent Assamese Brahmin society and parental negligence in educating the female child, all these women's issues have been projected powerfully in his novels. His canvas was wide. He wrote I in 1960 with his mother as the main character, along the lines of Gorky's mother, where he portrays a distinguished Assamese rural society and its socio-economic dimension. His women protagonists came from communities from the Garo, Dimi, and Assamese Subhadra, Assamese Subhadra and Kolibaido, to the English Mrs. Fleming and Jebunisa, the Tangkhul Langa Sarengla in Yarangum, the typical caste Hindu character of Gokhani in Mrityunjay, wife of Mohala Gosai, leading a non-violent freedom struggle against the background of the Second World War and Quit India movement, the characters of Amala and Bimala and their suffering due to war in Satagni against the signing aggression of 1962. The October Revolution of 1970 and Marxist philosophy also had much influence on Bhattacharya, as much as these had on the other intellectual writers of his time. Such influence and his conviction in socialism find expression in all his novels in some measures, especially Pratipad, Rajputaniya, Rangamek, Satani and Mrityunjay. His faith in basic human values, whose permeates through all his creations, puts him almost at par with great humanist writers like Sarat Chandra Chatterjee and Prem Chand, and for that generation to come would hold him in high esteem. Now I would like to conclude with a quote by Dr. Prabhakar Masra, a Sahitya Akademi winner, a prolific writer, linguist, and authority of Indian literature. I start. In Assamese, as in all other Indian languages, there are two sets of stock writers among novelists. There was the Sarat Chandra model, who will sentimentally write about social ills, or there was the Mulkraj Anand model, who wrote the realistic documentary of Indian poverty and deprivation. In Assamese, the base models were Jibonar Batat by Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya or Dawararu Nai by Jogesh Das, representing the two schools. Masra said what Birendra did was to discard the old models and evolve a new pattern of his own. Thank you so much. আজি মই আৰু এটা কাম কৰিব খুজিছোঁ, অসমীয়াতে কৈছোঁ। Otherwise I am get in Dharma Sankat. Once upon a time, Birendra Bhattacharya's one seminar was big seminar at India International Center, That was the norm of the Sahitya Akademi. Indra Chaudhury's time, Professor Indra Chaudhury's time. I had just finished my PhD thesis. Then after finishing that reading, he gave me, Malaya, this is for you. And I always forget to bring here this to me, but this time this is my bye-bye time is very samagato. So this is, I have done my good. My daughter will distribute some Korobi Digantos and some.
Okay. बहुत ভাল হৈছে
Thank you very much Malaya Khan ji.
খুব ভাল লাগিলে খুব ভাল হৈছে
মই বহুত জ্ঞান পঢ়িছিলোঁ আগতে
Now may I request Sri Mayur Bora ji. He is a bilingual author, translator, social commentator and motivational speaker. He has 18 published books to his credit in the Assamese and English, including an edited book. He writes in all the reputed newspapers of Assam and also in First Post, Economic Times, Deccan Herald, Orissa Post on important social economic issues. He has delivered many prestigious memorial lectures in India and abroad, mainly covering important slices of history and socio-economic developments of Assam. He is the recipient of Bharat Barua Memorial Award, Dr. Moidul Bora Memorial Award, Jananeta Bhimbor Devri Award. Sri Mayur Bora.
Thank you for the flattering introduction, Devji, you have given. I think as the toxic haze in the Delhi air is assaulting, it's tightening its tentacles on the citizens of the people. Here, metaphorically speaking, allegorically speaking, we, under the aegis of Sahitya Akademi, is definitely doing a yeoman service not only for the literature of Assam, but for the people of the country, people of the planet, by doing something which was the mainstay, the defining trait of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya's all the writings. The people, and the people inhabit this art. It has gradually become uninhabitable. During that point of time, I think it has come at the right time, and I am deeply, deeply delighted and immeasurably gratified at not a very edifying sight in Delhi, but having organized this program definitely is a very, very gratifying moment for everyone. I salute that spirit of Sahitya Akademi, and I respected President Dr. Korobi Deka Hazurika, the fellow presenters, Dr. Vinita Bora De Chaudhary, Dr. Malaya Khan, Mr. Diganta Vishwa Sharma, Deveshji, and the respected members in the audience. I can assure you I'll be very, very brief, I'll be pithy, I'll try to be pointed. Because I know after lunch, and that too after a sumptuous lunch being provided by Sahitya Akademi, and the smile on Diganta Vishwa Sharma's face tells it all. It's a very loud commentary on your hospitality, for which the Assamese people are known, which find lot of, what should I say, overtones or underpinnings in some of the writings of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. I sit here to deliver few of the points of this great literary doyen of not only Assam, I will say, of the planet art. And it's deeply humbling. It's deeply humbling. And I must offer you a caveat. The caveat is also very pithy and pointed that I will not be able to examine his literary merit from the perspective of a, what should I say, a professor, an academician, but as a reader, as an informal student of humanities or social science, how those characters come very, very lively in front of my mental, imaginative eyes, and how he can unlock the door and can enter into the people and the consciousness of the people, pervade it, permeate it, without much of effort. I think there, Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya's main credit as a people's novelist, as a people's man, is there, and it throbs, it pulses within the Assamese consciousness. And if it doesn't pulse it, if it doesn't throb within that, I have got serious doubts about their being Assamese. I think that was the gripping impact of this man, Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. I would like to say one thing. Diganta Vishwa Sharma was telling two things in the beginning, that he was doing things in a very silent way, silently and single-handedly. And with this, I fully agree with that, but I would like to add one more as that was being very steadfast. He was steadfast, he was committed to the human ethos. He was steadfast to all the things that base of the pyramid, that persecuted, the exploited, the marginalized section of the people. They had lot of aspiration, they had lot of suffering, whether before independence, during which time Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya started his career as a poet in that handwritten magazine called Prabhati Arun, and he started with a glorious poem on Gurujana Mahapurush Srimanta Shankardev. That's the beginning of this great man of Assam, who eventually became the president of Sahitya Akademi. And after Sahitya Akademi's stint, he went on to become many people in Assam also do not know, the professor in the chair of Ram Manohar Lohia in Kurukshetra University. That means his loyalty to Gandhian socialism, his loyalty to humanism, his loyalty to being a good human being who can sing the song penned by Bhupen Hazarika, the immortal number, Manuhe Manuhar Babe, Jodihe Okonuna Babe. We can also sing, but many people amongst us cannot sing that song ethically or morally. They don't have the moral right, they have lost it. But here is one man who can always do, because all throughout his literary career, spanning for decades, that human being, human ethos, human sensibilities, sanities, this used to have the main fulcrum about which or around which all the characters of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya used to, I should say, dance around, I should say, pulsate around, I should say, they did their duties, but in the process, they established a robust breeze with the hearts of the people. And that's why Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya's and the topic that was given to me about the identity issues, about the social issues, how the women are treated, all those things have come. You remember, I generally speak very sporadically, I get really tense with lot of papers in front of me, I really tend to get inspired by the twinkle in your eyes, and that's what I am trying to do. It reminds me in Mrityunjoy, Dhanpur. And Dhanpur, I have to remember in 1980, when I first started reading that book, The Beginning of Assam Agitation, 7980, the first thing it impressed me about Dhanpur's characters, and I told Vinita Bora Dev Chaudhary and probably Pori Hiloidar a few days back, that Dhanpur was a boy who used to do backbrush of his hair. A sulit backbrush maya koribo muk nidisil babe Dhanpuror backbrushor joriote moi Mrityunjoyৰ মাজলৈ সোমাই গৈছিলো, and it gave me a different kind of pleasure. And when I delved into, as a not even as a teenager, there I could found that he says, Dhanpur says to Dimi, যে তই মিকিৰৰ ছোৱালী, মই কছাৰী, অমুকা কৈবৰ্ত, আমি অসমীয়াকে হ'ব পৰা নাই, মানুহ আমি কেতিয়া হওঁ. And that is the defining spirit, that is the defining narrative of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya's almost all the novels. And you will find always the subaltern, their cries, their tears, their suffering. But there also, most of the people, I have today heard them very, very honestly with rapt attention, and they have done a wonderful duty of bringing about different slices of its literary creation to all of us. But one thing I would like to say, which I find it slightly different in respect of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, if I two of the magnum opus, Mrityunjoy and Yaruingom. In Mrityunjoy, which is a later creation, we find a Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya in which he was somewhat soft towards, what should I say, the terrorism or extremist measures that was perpetrated by Mohada Gokhai, be it Dhanpur Laskar, be it others, but he was somewhat grudgingly also he accepts it. But if you go to Yaruingom, in which somehow at times I feel as if the author is speaking through the character of Risang, then you will find that he is not soft at all towards the, what should I call, the non-state terrorism or non-state extremism which has come out and which wants to threaten the newly found Indian state. And there, it's an apparent dichotomy of the author. In a later creation, he seems to be somewhat soft, and in an earlier creation, he seems to be somewhat harsh on extremist measures that is being indulged in by some of the people. They are important characters in these two novels. I was trying to probe myself. I cannot ask any, because a literary person, a literary critic will try to explain these things differently. So what I was trying to do, I was trying to do myself, that his philosophy of life, the Gandhian philosophy, reliance on democratic socialism, maybe because of the fact, and maybe the India has become or going to become an independent country soon, he developed a certain kind of thought process which got reflected in Yarwingom. He thought that, like Risang also thought in Yarwingom, and in many characters in Mrityunjay also thought that everything would be somewhat hunky-dory after our freedom. But when we see again the characters that has been so beautifully portrayed, depicted by Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya, Vidisheli, although he was not very soft to Vidisheli, but the tussle between Risang and Vidisheli is a tussle between a marginalized section of the society, that is those of the Ukhrul Nagas. Ratnottama was telling how around 30 or 20 years back, 15 years back, she had lot of difficulty in navigating, in going to that place, and we can imagine what kind of difficulties he would have encountered around 40-50 years back before our birth. What kind of situation it would have been. But was he a person to get bogged down by this? Was he a person to be discouraged by this? No, absolute no. That's why we saw Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya at the behest of his friend Risang, who eventually became everything is known, the chief minister, parliamentarian, and he died at a very ripe old age in the year 2016 or 17. We find that author, maybe because of his friendship and maybe because of his reliance on Gandhian socialism, he is identifying as if unknowingly or unconsciously or probably consciously, he was trying to give an image in which we find the reflection of Risang in the thought process of the author. Whereas in Yarwingom, in the other character, we do not find that. And that's very interesting. It's interesting, it is intriguing, and it's illuminating. And all great scholars, all great authors, their writings, it becomes or it tends to illuminate people when we go into different layers that are contained within their creation and try to go deep into it and try to find different meaning every time we read it. And that's what Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya is for myself. That's what he was for all the people who have become his votary or votary of the kind of philosophy that he used to hold dear to his heart. We all know the people centricity. And in people centricity, again, if you situate yourself, I'm sure my friend Bibhas is there, Manojda, Dilip Chandanda, they are also there tomorrow when they will analyze. If you try to situate this people centricity of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya against some of the women characters of both Mrityunjay and Yarwingom, probably you will also have a lot of questions. But if you have questions, if you want to be critical also about certain aspect of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya, we should not lose sight of one fact. We should not lose sight of the fact that Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya wrote this brilliant novel immediately after independence in the 1960s and 1980s. The time during that point of period was totally different. It is very easy to sit back in 21st century and say many things, but even then, the Kutingla and Saringla's character and how Saringla was considered to be undesirable by the society. But who is that society? Who gives him that license to say that you are not welcome, your activities in the past are not welcome, for which he was not responsible? Kutingla also, the initial jealousy I can understand, initial discomfiture which Saringla was understandable, but it is not understandable why the same society has different kind of rules. They have framed different kind of rules for women, and that comes very, very poignantly in the novels of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya. Because I remember what Virginia would say, and I think it is true. Shakespeare said, "Frailty thy name is women." Then there is another saying, aphorism, that anonymity, thy name is women. That means in the historical narrative, if you do not find mention of some of the characters who has made this world proud, then it shows that we have not been able to accept the fact that there also at par. They were also our equal. And that's why it reminds me of Virginia Woolf, who said that history of man's opposition to women emancipation movement is more interesting than women emancipation movement itself. The people, the male, the people like us, how we tend to unknowingly and knowingly create roadblocks in the path of the women in different ways, maybe at our home, maybe in our workspace. That shows the sad commentary of patriarchy and its toxicity in today's world. And it has not gone down. It has not gone down. I am not going to contextualize it by what happened on the other sides of America in the recent election. But everywhere in this world, you will find that. And in Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya's novel also, in Kutingla's character, Saringla's character, you see sometimes helplessly that women have been objectified, women have been commodified. And that's why the narrative, its beauty, its aesthetic appeal, and the fact that it always tries to talk about the people, their suffering, their struggle, their inhibitions, and sometimes how societal walls ultimately get the better of them, overwhelm them, engulf them, and they ultimately cannot rise to the occasion, probably as demanded or as foreseen by a discerning reader in 21st century. Probably a reader 20 years back, 30 years back will be reading Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. They will be reading in a different way. But for my daughter's generation, the people who are studying now, if they read Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, if they read Saurabh Saliha, if they read Bhavan, how they are going to eventually analyze his literary creation is also a thing, I think, in this seminar and in this kind of a program. I think we have to keep our research process also dynamic to understand the ever-flowing dynamism, the ever-flowing humanistic ethos that flows subterraneanly at times and at times very, very prominently in the writings of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya. There are many things, I jotted down certain things last night, but I think I will not go into details about those issues, but one particular character, since Mohanta Damoria in his very, very profound speech in the morning, you mentioned about Rajpothe Ringiai, the Rajpath rings, and that Gandhian spirit, that Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and his thought process, how it gets exemplified by the character called Mohan, and how it emboldens him to pick up a fight with his father. And that's a fight, that's an ideological fight. Because father was a British employee, he thought everything would be well, everything would be hunky-dory after independence. But Mohan is not satisfied with that. Like any young people, where there is no hormonal holiday, people do not get satisfied with what they see eventually in and around them. And same thing happened to Mohan. And Mohan in the process has imbibed those Gandhian ethos, which we also see in Mrityunjoy, how beautifully Rajpothe Ringiai and Mrityunjoy's, some of the underlying ethos and objective can blend together at one point of time. And when it blends, when it unites, when it enjoins, then comes only one thing, the humanistic ethos. Then comes the Manavotavad, then comes that Manavik Pramulya. এই গোটেইখিনি কথাৰ বাবে মই ভাবো Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, Ratnottama was telling about Homen Borgohain, and I remember what Homen Borgohain told me personally. He's not very, at times it was a roller coaster kind of a relationship. At some point of time during Assam agitation, he had certain misunderstanding about Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, and Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya was an out and out, I am not saying others but other people, I am saying about Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya, he was out and out, an upright man, honest man, he always keep people in his focus. And Birendra Bhattacharya অলপ দিনৰ কাৰণে এটো অসমীয়াত কলে ভাল হোমেন বৰগোহাঞিক নমতা হৈছিল। কিন্তু এই যে নমতা হৈছিল, নমতা হোৱাৰ মাজত যিখিনি ৰহস্য আছিল, সেই ৰহস্যৰ আঁৰত অসম আন্দোলনৰ Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya যিটো হোৱা বিচাৰিছিল আৰু শেষত গৈ দেখা নাপালে, যিটো কথা হোমেন বৰগোহাঞি বা হীৰেণ গোহাঁইয়ে আগতে কিছুমান সময়ত কৈছিল, সেই কথাবোৰৰ মহাবিলনৰ মাজত আমি আচলতে অসমক ভালপোৱা সজীৱ কৰা মানে যিসকল মানুহে সমৃদ্ধ কৰে, the people who enrich our academic narrative, our intellectual discourse, despite having contesting narratives in their creation, ultimately that people centricity, ultimately that human ethos, that reigns supreme. আৰু সেইভাবে শেষত গৈ হোমেন বৰগোহাঁই আৰু Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya এটা মিল হৈছিল। আৰু সেই মিলটো, it was not a very kind of noisy meal that people will come to know they had no good relation for 2 years, now they have come to terms. No, the fact that there is a misunderstanding, it shows they are human. The fact that they could bury their hatchet at one point of time, or the ideological issues at one point of time, and they could all again become friends. It shows both are loyal, both are ardently loyal to the ethos of Assam, be it literature, be it culture, be it people centricity in their own different ways. And that is why we feel Birendra Kumar Bhattacharyya will live. Sun will not set in the realm of Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya's kingdom of fans. It may be less after 5 years, it may be even more after 25 years. It may be due to the effort of Sahitya Akademi, it may be due to effort of some private individuals. I personally feel a man who kept people in the mainstream of his thought process and also in his literary creation, he is going to remain as an undying spirit of Ahomianess, as an undying spirit of great Udar, as on Manu, humanity, and he will be the real flag bearer of humanistic ethos, who can proudly sing that famous number by Bhupen Hazarika, which I invoked some time back, and let us try to invoke at the end again, that Manuhe Manuhor Babe, Jodihe Okonune Bhabe, Bhabibo Kuneno, Kua Khomoni. Dhanyabad, and thank you, and once again I commend, congratulate, and compliment the efforts made by Sahitya Akademi. Zuri Baido, you have been there. I hope you will not miss your flight, but I am grateful that you remain to listen to the last part of this brilliant program. And again, I'd like to thank, despite our differences with Dr. Diganta Vishwa Sharma, he was also instrumental in having different minds, with different thought process, so that people who think good about Assam is the humanity at large, they can sit together, bring together, and in a dialogue, in a discourse of dialogue, they can say certain things with a right given by Indian Constitution. With this ethos and with this people in mind, I would like to conclude and thank all my panelists and all members of my audience. You are not number, you are less, but as I have a tendency of thundering into the mic, it becomes difficult for many people to sleep or to doze off. Sorry for being that, and with that, I hope I have been able to share my thoughts about the humanistic ethos and social issues and identity issues as reflected in Birendra Kumar Bhattacharya's novel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayur Bora ji. Now may I request Akademi ma'am for her concluding remarks.
Yes.
Chair.
Congratulations to 3 paper presenters. You guys take it, no? Actually, I myself was born and brought up in Nagaland, in the Mukoksan district. So I have a very good idea. Nagalandৰ যিটো ভিতৰ চৰা সেই সম্পৰ্কে মোৰ অকণমান জ্ঞান আছে. I spent my childhood days in a small town of Nagaland in Mukoksan district, and now also I have my daughter-in-law from Nagaland, from Mima village. So therefore I have very good idea of Nagaland, their people and their problems. মই সৰু কালতে এই সমস্যাবোৰ দেখা পাইছিলোঁ, স্বাধীনতা লাগে নে নালাগে, তেতিয়া বুজা নবুজাৰ মাজতে সেই কথাখিনি দেখা পাইছিলোঁ. যি নহওক, আজি বৰ সুন্দৰকৈ আমি 3টা বিষয়ত শুনিলোঁ. গতিকে কংগ্ৰেচুলেশ্যনছ মালয়া বাইদেউ ফৰ ইয়ৰ বিউটিফুল প্ৰেজেণ্টেশ্যন. কংগ্ৰেচুলেশ্যন বৰা ডাঙৰীয়া, আপুনি বৰ সুন্দৰকৈ কথাখিনি ক'লে. আৰু বিনীতালৈ কংগ্ৰেচুলেশ্যনছ আৰু বহুত মৰম জনালোঁ, তুমি সুন্দৰকৈ আজি প্ৰেজেণ্ট কৰিছা. So with this word, I again congratulate these paper presenters, and I am thankful to Sahitya Akademi for this centenary seminar and giving me the opportunity to share this session. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Rabindra. मित्रों, इसके साथ ही यह आज का सेमिनार का सत्र संपन्न होता है, और कल हम लोग 2 और सत्र है. कल हम लोग इकट्ठा होंगे 10 बजे से क्राफ्टिंग यूनिक क्लैरिटी वॉइस, जिस सेशन का चेयर करेंगे सहित्या जी, विभास चौधरी, निर्मल कांति भट्टाचार्य और सत्यकाम बला ठाकुर सेशन में होंगे. उसके बाद डॉक्टर भट्टाचार्य आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आप लोगों को मैं आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगा, आप लोग थोड़ा सा रुके तो एक कार्यक्रम यहाँ होना है। बांग्लादेश के एक स्कॉलर है, उनको साहित्य अकादमी का प्रेमचंद फेलोशिप प्रदान किया जाएगा। आधे घंटे का वो कार्यक्रम है, 5 से 5:30 बजे तक वो होगा, तो उसमें आप लोग शिरकत कर सकते हैं, अच्छा लगेगा। और यदि कोई दोस्त मित्र हो आपके आस-पास